Hi, my name is Catherine Logan, and I'm going to be talking about some of my experiences acquiring my native language, which is English, and how my environment and my interactions with others when I was younger impacted my language acquisition, and how all of that relates to first language acquisition theories. And I'll also be talking about second language acquisition and how that's going to affect how I teach my ELL students in the future, and my own experiences learning a second language in high school and what that has taught me, and how the second language acquisition theories have really helped people learn how English language learners acquire a second language and the benefits for them based on that.
What do you remember about learning your native language?
So I can't say that I specifically remember learning language growing up. I think that it is an innate thing that we learn language through our exposure to other people who are speaking to us. Um, I am one of 8 children, so I had a lot of interactions with younger siblings and with my older siblings and my parents. My parents didn't really expose us to a lot of social situations outside of our home until we went to school. So my language until the time I was about 6 was completely developed at home. And also I watched a lot of classic films. Even as a very young child, I loved classic films. So some of my siblings today will still make fun of me because I might say pray tell or pardon me, some phrases that people don't usually use anymore. But that was part of me acquiring language by being exposed to what I heard at home, which was the TV, and also my siblings and my parents. And my mom gave me a lot of corrective feedback. She still will today, which ties into the behaviorist perspective of that you learn language based on the feedback that you get back.
What role did your teachers and school environment play in your language development?
So I think my teachers and my school environment probably played the same role as my parents did in my language acquisition, my first language acquisition, as far as a lot of corrective feedback and modeling of language. I went to a private school with Irish Catholic nuns who had Irish accents, but that did not stop them from expecting us to have the proper English and use the proper English at school. And I think that having such a formal environment at school and then an informal environment at home also helped me learn the different registers of informal and formal language that should be used in different situations. My daughter will laugh at me because I grew up in Arizona until I was 16, and I thought my language development would have been done by then. But we moved to a rural small town in Illinois, and she says sometimes when I'm speaking informally, I will drop my G's, cookin', sittin', and which is typical of Midwesterners. And I just find that interesting because I've paid attention to my younger siblings who grew up there, who were much younger when we moved to Illinois, and they actually speak like that quite often. So it makes me conscious of the way I need to speak in order to model language in front of my students.
How does your experience relate to first language acquisition theories?
So I think that my experiences with language just prove that Chomsky's belief that first language acquisition, that it is innate, is true. We learn it without being formally taught. Nobody sits us down when we're babies and teaches us a language, but we learn it based on our interactions with others and through the behaviorist perspective that we receive corrective feedback and then we learn how to use language properly. I think that my own experiences back up these beliefs that it is something that we just learn. And it's kind of crazy to think about how complicated language is, but yet even little babies are able to learn language and we build these skills and we're able to use them to communicate, and it's really incredible.
How should oral and written language be taught at home and at school?
I believe in the past, many teachers took a learning view approach when they were teaching a second language or really any subject, that it was very much a drill type of learning environment. And that was certainly my experience when I took Spanish in high school for 2 years. I don't remember having any cooperative learning activities or collaboration with students. It was very much sitting in my desk and listening the entire time. And I think that we have learned through the second language acquisition theories that has not been beneficial for students. So I think that the way students should be taught in the classroom and at home is through engaging them in activities that exposes them to language in a natural way.
How will you connect the second language acquisitions theories to your own instruction? And how does this apply to what you have learned about second language acquisition?
So the sociocultural perspective really implies that students learn through interactions with others and their peers, just like I learned through my first language with interactions with my parents and my siblings. So I think in the classroom, students really need to be provided with opportunities to engage and discuss with students that are at their same proficiency level or maybe slightly above, that have a higher English language proficiency level, so it can help elevate their language skills and they can build on their own language based on what they're hearing and the feedback that they've received from the teacher and from others in the classroom. I think it's also really important that they learn language by being immersed in an environment that is rich with language, that we expose them to language by reading to them out loud, especially read alouds, and having those supports in the classroom, such as anchor charts, that will help students learn language when they are also trying to learn content. They're trying to learn English while they're also trying to learn the content area information. I also wanted to say as a future educator that taking the behaviors perspective into consideration, that I really need to make sure that I'm modeling my language for the students and that I am giving explicit feedback and corrective feedback in order to help my students build their language skills. And for the cognitive developmental perspective, I think it is also important to really tailor the lessons and the activities to the students' cognitive abilities. I had a brother who had special needs, and I think that when you are teaching students, that you really need to be able to teach to their level and that their ability that they're at, because if you're too low, they're not going to make any progress, or if you aim too high, that they just aren't going to be able to understand. So I think those perspectives have also helped me really understand what I need to do when I am trying to create lessons to help everybody in the classroom.
What did you learn from this assignment?
So I think this assignment has really helped me see that we acquire our first language, our native language, usually just naturally through our interactions with others. But when students are learning a second language in our classroom, they're also having to learn content area information in their new language. So it's really hard and it's tough for them because they have to build their language skills in order to learn in the classroom. And I think that for the students to be able to acquire English, they need opportunities to listen, to speak, to read and write in English. And we need to, as educators, provide them with those opportunities and opportunities to interact with others so we can really model language for them and be able to help support them while they are learning and acquiring English.